Hello, everyone. That was a wee bit scary because I'm having to do this all by myself. So hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can see me. Well, sorry about that, but okay. I'm going to wait and see if you see me. Yay. Okay. You can see me, I hope. I tell you what, it has been a week. You can. Good. Thank you, Miss Joe. All right. Hello, everyone. Mark is off on his bike, and I said, I can do this all by myself, like a big girl. And then I got all nervous and, oh well, that was a little crazy. But hello, I'm so glad to see you. And this is going to be a little bit different. Let me see. On my computer it looks dark, but hopefully you can see me well enough. But this has been a weird week. And at first, on Monday, I took a day off. I was really enjoying myself. And I worked on one of the miniature houses, which I have back there, and I'll show you in a few minutes. Then, the rest of the week was taken up with doing some spring cleaning because we had brand new. Here I am. Oh, hopefully we're good. Okay. Oh, thank you for being so patient with me. You're always so kind. And my hand was shaking. It was like, I don't know if I can do this. And so thank you for being so patient with me. And, but we had new fiber optic cable, fiber optic. They don't call it cable, but we had the house wired for fiber optic, which, oh my goodness, it finally came available here. We are a little older neighborhood that only had, when we first moved in here, you only had one service possible for internet, and it was terrible. But we're finally catching up, and we knew they had laid fiber optic in the neighborhood about a year ago, but we've been waiting to see. And the good news is it's going to save a lot on the bill, probably 35%. So I'm really happy about that. But you should see what it does for our television pictures. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like you're right there in whatever show you're watching. But there's a downside to that. So we were busy. What did we do Wednesday? We were cleaning the house, getting a couple. We had something to do. I forget right now. But then, since we had the fiber optic fully installed on Thursday, I've had to get a new email and change everything. I mean, you don't realize how many, between doctor's offices and different subscriptions and everything to try to change email. So I have been doing nothing but that the last 2.5 days, and I'm exhausted. It takes up so much time. So we were wondering, Lisa's here! Yay! Lisa has been so busy. That was one of the things I was going to tell you today. So her work is just crazy busy. But I was so glad to hear from her and to hear that she's well. Because, you know, she was really sick in January. And I was wondering how long it would take her to get well. But she's just very busy. How nice of you to stop by, Lisa. She's the sweetest thing. So, just if Bonnie watches, I just want to tell her I still love my sticker. But I was going to, I've not done any of the things that I was supposed to do to get ready for the show. So I just brought it all here and plopped it on the table. And this is going to kind of be a loosey-goosey show and a few things to show you. And then I thought, they can ask me questions. That would be a good thing to do. So feel free to ask me questions. I don't know why everything looks so dark in my computer. But my settings must be slightly off. Oh, wouldn't it be nice if it would link up, or you could put your new email on one thing? I told Mark what was hard about it is you go to a site, you have to figure out where you can change your email. Each site handles it differently. Some things I could not find, no matter how hard I tried. I couldn't find how to change email, so I would just have to unsubscribe and then try to work my way back and resubscribe. But most every place wanted me to verify. So then I had to send something to my email address or my cell phone and then hit the verify and go back. And oh my gosh. And I wish I had counted how many places. And I'm not done yet. My current email, I've tried to disable it as much as I can, but I'm leaving it hooked up for at least another week so that anything else that comes in I might have missed, I can put the change through. But it is crazy. Oh, good. So hi, Michelle the quilter. But I tell you, it seems odd when we can put celebrities up to the line of where space starts, and we can't find a way to key in new emails. The president fired our director and deputy. Oh my gosh. And you're trying to learn Chinese on the top of that, so your life is crazy. Chinese is supposed to be like the hardest language to learn. My heart aches for you. I'm so sorry. But it's so great to see Polly and Miss Joe. And Miss Joe, do you have a Chick-fil-A near you at all? And let me know if you have a Chick-fil-A near you. Y'all are great. Oh, it's so good to see everybody. Cheryl Hogan, Barbara Smith, hi. Michelle the quilter, thank you. Miss Mary is here. You do. Okay, Miss Joe, I was given a Chick-fil-A gift certificate, and I'd like to send it to you and thank you for being our moderator. And because I don't think I've sent you anything yet. So I will, and I'm pretty sure I have your address. So I'll pop that in the mail today and send it to you. So that is great. Okay. Now let me see. All right. So the one thing, I'll start off with what I have done this week. My gosh, I have had the best time working on this. Betty Middleton's here. Oh my gosh, Betty. It is so good to hear from you. Oh, I sent everybody patterns, Miss Joe. You deserve something special. Okay. So, and I wanted to show you, Mark was going to the Walmart. I said, can you get me another roll of freezer paper? Because you know what I've been finding? Certain things that I've always loved. Like, do you remember those raisin thin cookies that they were raisins inside a thin cookie shell? They stopped selling those. So many things that I've come to love, they're, Coast Raisin Bran. You can't find it. So I said, I've been thinking a lot about that stuff lately. And so I said, Mark, because these last a long time for me, but I enjoyed so much doing my applique by drawing a leaf pattern on the freezer paper and then ironing the shiny side to the fabric, and then that way you cut out, when you cut them out, make sure you have somewhere an 1/8 to a 1/4 inch seam allowance so you can tuck it under. And I usually glue it, I glue them down. But, I love freezer paper, and I thought, get it while you still can. And that should last me now. So, another thing. I told you this is going to be spur of the moment. I actually did try to write an agenda, and then I forgot it upstairs. But I wanted to show, especially Miss Jo, this is my latest Dorset button. I got some variegated embroidery floss. Isn't that cute? And I love what it did. I loved the different colors. And those are my colors. I love jewel tones. That's what I call jewel tones. So, and then here's the back, because when you weave it, it kind of leaves a solid back. And you know what? Since I'm sending Miss Jo that gift certificate that was given me, I'll pop this in too so you can see it. Then I'm going to have to make one for Miss Mary. So thank you very much. It's called a Dorset button, and it's a lot of fun. And I found a new source for the rings, so they're very cheap. You just use a plastic ring, and I have showed it a couple times on the show so you can see how it's done. And what I want to do is start doing different variations on it, and then trying to do some more beadwork on them. But they're just fun, and it does look like a heart in the middle. I noticed that the way the colors went. And you can put a little pin back on them and wear them as a brooch. You can use them as a button on a sweater or coat. But they're fun, and they keep my hands busy. And with my arthritis getting worse and worse, I really need to keep my hands moving. I noticed this morning that this finger that sometimes is twice this big, it's calming down. So I'm hoping I'm going to have because I can't bend it. That's as far as I can bend it. But if it calms down a little, it'd be awfully nice. So, because I don't want to have to go in for surgery. I'm tired of surgeries. So, but, okay. So now I'm trying to remember what I said I was going to do. But anyway, those buttons are so much fun. And you can find people on YouTube. And the past couple weeks, I've done a little demonstration. But I wanted to show Miss Mary has done some beautiful ones. The problem is I have to be careful what I take. Since I had one of my kidneys removed, I cannot take anything that's an NSAID. I can't even use arthritis creams that have aspirin or ibuprofen or anything like that in them. So it's really, really hard. But Mary said, oh, good, yes. And that's just the embroidery floss, and I use all 6 strands. But you can use anything from a fingering weight yarn to pearl cotton to embroidery floss, and it'll give it a slightly different look. Oh, you have same kidney issue. Yeah, we have to be so careful. It was stuffed in a coffee can, of course, right where you put it. It's not an inside. I'll have to check and see that. So that would be great. All right. So I was going to come here and show you first the fun things that I did this week. And this is one of those miniature house kits that you make, and oh my gosh, yours is crochet thread. Yes, and it's really fun to try different things. And I have to apologize to Bonnie. I saw her, she was talking about her sweet hummingbird quilt that she made, and I saw the line, it's not much. I didn't see the rest of the line that said, but I like it. So I gave her a suggestion, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean to seem like, oh, you should do this and make it better. I thought she was saying it wasn't much. So be careful when you offer advice. Make sure it was asked for. So, okay. So here is this kit. I've had this kit 2 or 3 years. Whoops. Here is this kit. And it's a magic book house. I love all of the Harry Potter type things. They are so much fun. So, I just love the look of the train station and the magic shops and all that. So let me bring you to this other nice camera I have, because that way you can see it without me making you nauseous. I love not moving my camera, the main camera, anymore. Okay. Oh, Miss Joe, they are so much fun. And I thought, before the tear of Spike Up Temu, whatever, I am going to order another 1 or 2 of them because they give me such joy. I can't tell you how much fun they are. So I just wanted to tighten up my camera. So when it comes, it has some flat boards like this. Then it has, like, you glue on the floor decoration, like on this part. Then, I already glued that down. And the glue I'm using, I'm very happy with it. If you can get a silicone glue, well, that's great, but they're kind of expensive. What I ended up doing, because it doesn't come with glue, is I ordered this from maybe Amazon, and it came in. And what that does is it's a fast grab, and that's what you want. And that glue has worked really well, because like these are just stuck to the side of this panel. They're not hooked in, so you might have to hold it a little bit. But it comes on, all of these things come on sheets. All of these kind of things come on sheets, and you press them out, which, oh my God, is that fun. Big sheets full of things that you press out to make other things with. So they are loads of fun. Okay. And then, like these bricks, this came on a sheet, and it's a solid piece for this. But let me start showing you all the things I've made. See those flowers back there? I made them. Oh, yes. Oh, that's neat. Yeah, it's so much fun. And I have been buying things from Temu lately, and they're very reasonably priced there. But I just want to get it before any... Now this is an example. You just pry out these little boards, glue them together, then this little pot, and then you make these. I cut these little leaves out myself, and then you glue that plus these little flowers that come with you. And then it's going to be electrified, but I put everything in. These flowers right here that look like chrysanthemums, it showed you how to cut them out of the little tissue paper that they gave you. And that's a bead that they're glued into. And I made the leaves that go around the wooden stem. So they pretty much give you everything except the batteries and the glue. Here's a little staircase that I've built. And that's going to go here. Well, it's not going to sit there good. But anyway, I'll be gluing that in. But now, I'm going to set up all my cute little furniture pieces. I tell you what, I'm very much in touch with my inner child. I love these things. This, you punch all the pieces out of one of the... You know what's made this possible? What's made this possible is they have these new micro-laminated plywoods. Very, very thin pieces. See, this is 3 layers. And then they have laser cutters. So the laser cut can go over they're probably about 10 by 8 sheets, and they have all the different things, numbered, lettered, laser cut. Look at this. The inside is one of those flat back gems with a little gold ring that you glue it to. This is a little piece of wood that was painted white, and you take and scrape it with a knife to make it look more like a candle and a wick. And these are just, there is a rivet right there, and a little necklace kind of thing separates beads on a necklace, and that's a necklace bead. Here is a bead in a little ball. Then I took and popped this out, and it had a little piece of plexiglass to put in there. And these, you just build the little pieces, and then it had a printed brick panel that out of the thick paper that you put. Look at this little table. You take, it comes with some sheets of beautifully printed things. Oh, yeah, you can. You definitely can. Oh, I see, Mary. And the writing you have behind the house. Oh, I'll show you this. This is really good. When I knew what the election was, I found this, and it gave me comfort. What's mine to do and what's not mine to do. What's mine to say and what's not mine to say. And the third one is harder. What is mine to care about and what is not mine to care about. And that's just to kind of help me get through some of these tough times, and it's helping. It's helping. But I'm always looking for good sayings. So, okay. Now, I'm going to stick some of these in here after I show them to you, because I've been making a lot of things. Well, I'll put this back right there. These I haven't glued down because I've got to run the lighting through. This is a cute little table, and it's just little pieces. Now, it's fiddly, so if you don't like little fiddly things, but this kit came with tweezers, which I've had to use. But this is just a bead ending, and a bead. You know, just it's amazing how resourceful. Now, here's what shows you the beauty of the laser cutting, because these are, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different pieces that you pop out of the wood, the little paneling, and then you glue them together. Look at this. This is out of just 6 little squares of wood. These have holes in it to make it look like it's something you pick up. And then these little tiny things, so it makes it look like a shipping box for books. And here is a little, it's supposed to be like a chest, and then this is the decoration on it. Just very simple. You just glue them together and put it on. Oops, this one I didn't get quite straight, but sometimes if the glue takes too long to dry, it's tricky. All right, and here, this is a bead. These are pieces of a copper-colored wire that you cut and set in there. This is a bead, another flower that I made. And these pieces you just fit and glue together. Oh, this is so cute. Here is, now I haven't put any of the little gold beads that act as knobs for these drawers. But see, we do quilting, but we also do a lot of other things. A lot of you are like me, and we love all kinds of crafting. But these were 2 little pieces you glued together. This is like the stuff you use for fish tanks. It's that vinyl tubing. And then it said, oh, glue these little flower pieces in there. But I've got it's got some little tiny gold beads that I'll put on here as door pulls. I gotta go back and kind of scratch off some of my glue, but this has been great. Uh-oh, I bumped this too hard. I'll have to carefully re-glue that, because in fact, this is a good way for me to show you. There's a bead. Then this is one of those things that is supposed to kind of hold on to a bead in a necklace, or bead spacer. So I take and put some glue on that. And then I carefully put this on it like that. And then just make sure to let that dry, and that is good. Okay. And there's little benches. I love these little benches. These were a little tricky. You'll find when you do these, if it is glue one side, let it dry, then put the other side on, because otherwise it can get a little tricky. Now here, I'm just going to put these. Oh, this is a good way to show you. Here is how these sheets look. And so what you do is you just, I love this part. This part's the favorite, is pushing out the little fillers. Then you just carefully take and push out. This is supposed to be some of the baluster. Whoops, that peeled back a little. I'll push it back into place now, but later I'll glue that. Or, don't worry, you can always use the other side. So this is going to be like banister up here. That'll be glued up here. But I love I love pushing all this stuff out. And I save all the little scraps because I'm thinking, hey, I'll make my own house. But here is another bead with some rolled up paper. And, whoops, look at this cute thing. A little piece of wood, and you glue the piece of paper on back so you've got a little painting. But here we go. Let me just put all of this in here so you can see it. Alright, here is this. So I've got other little portraits to hang up in the house. Here's a little book I made by cutting this out and just bending it, accordion folding it. So that's a cute little book. There's another plant that's going to go somewhere. Then some of the books, these were harder to make because it's just paper, but they'll sit on the shelf and look like a book. And there. And they have cute little pictures. Some have titles. Then there were some, they take some of the scrap wood like this, and you wrap, you cut out and wrap. Oh, you know what this is? This is Anne of Green Gables. So these are a lot of fun. Here's another portrait of someone. And this one is English literature and has a picture of Elizabeth I. Look at this tiny. Look at that. Is that cute? But look at this bead. You glue the little thing in it, and that becomes a vase. So it is a lot of fun. This one was tricky to build. It's a little box out of paper. So you got to be careful. Try to keep your hands clean of glue. Then these, you cut out, they look like newspapers. Can you see? They look like newspapers, and then you stack them and tie a rope on them. So they're so cute. So I have been busy with this. This is going to go on top of the fireplace in the room, and I guess it's supposed to look like a magic potion coming out. But anyway, so this is what I've been doing, and I have been having so much fun. So it's, once I put up the staircase, then it's just put all the furniture in its places. And let me put some of these things back in so I don't lose them. But I put something on the TV, And I do this sitting by my chair and having fun. So I highly recommend them if you like. I love the idea of a dollhouse. I've never had one, and I told Mark a dollhouse is in my future, and he's like, oh, I don't want to build a dollhouse. So I might get him to just do a couple things just to get me started and then let me run with it. But I've always thought I would like to take polymer clay and make things for the tables, and, you know, I'd love to make the furniture even. So there is that. So that has been the most fun. So while I've got the camera down here, let me try to show you. All right, so I have been looking at the Sea Scape, and I'm glad I dulled down the top because it was overshadowing the shore. But one problem I don't like, I might have dulled it down a little bit too much, and I'm still concerned that my heron is not bright enough. So one thing I'm going to try to do today with you is, let me get this, and be careful if you get ink tints pencils. Be careful not to over sharpen, because any of the color that you use to sharpen, that's the dye that you need. So if you sharpen them too much, you're wasting what is an expensive pencil, because these are $2 to $3 a piece. So what I'm going to do is come in with this white and try to brighten back up this bird, because somehow it just looked dull. And it might have been some of the dark coloring that I put on him to try to draw some lines and give him definition, but he definitely needs brightening up. So this is the beauty of ink tints, because if you're working along and there's something you don't quite like, then you can fix it with this. Okay. And let me grab a little brush and let me get a little water here. All right. So just gonna, now it might make it look a little dark just at first, but that's just until the water dries, because the water tends to make it a little dark looking. Now what you can also do, white is the trickiest ink tints pencil. It really is, because it's hard for it to show up good. So sometimes if you just wet what you're trying to color, if you wet it and then use the pencil, it might give you more distinction. But I think this is going to be good, and it's going to give it, yeah, that brightens that up pretty good. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a nice sherbet lemon color, and I'm going to come in places, whoops, I need to sharpen this too. Oh, that's a good idea, Polly. And you know what? Polly has made dioramas. So, yeah, poster board I love. It's that foam core board. That would really be good. I like that, Polly. I really do. Michelle Lang. Hello, Michelle. So good to see you. Okay. So some of these I'm going to come back in if I feel like I darkened it a little, I wanted to put water lines, but some of them I made too dark. And this is, remember, when you're doing art, it's an active occurrence. And if you do something you don't like, come back in and fix it. And because that's me, you know, I can get carried away with things, and then it's like, oops, I did too much, and I'll just come back and fix it. And I like to show you that because in my life, I've never done anything perfectly. It's always been a process. And so I just wanted to show you. So all I'm doing is coming back up and trying to lighten up some areas that just went a little too dull. Then I'm going to take this yellow here, and I'm going to come in here and do some unifying yellow to kind of just barely put a little. But, okay. So get some yellow on here, and that'll just kind of bring the colors together good. Okay. Now, let me get a wider brush while I'm right here. Okay. So let's see. Now, I do know that the water is going to make it darker at first. That's how come I couldn't tell I had gone too dark, because, and I'm going to go ahead and wet it, because remember, I can come back with that white pencil and it will really work good to lighten it. So I'm going to come down here. Okay. So now I think I have enough water on here that let's see what happens when I come back in with my yellows. All right, let's get my white again. Okay, let me get my iron on so that I can try to dry this just a bit. Now be careful when you dry it. Just understand that drying sets the color. I mean ironing. Ironing will set the color. Okay. Oops. Let me get this sharpened a touch more. You call your mistakes art. You know what? That's pretty smart. I think that's right brilliant, honestly. Because art is in the eye of the beholder, and if Jackson Pollock calls his stuff art, then I know mine is. Oh, did I say that out loud? Shame on me. But, you know, I mean, art is very different to very different people. That would be hard to be an art teacher, because you don't want to minimize anyone's work, but there must be times you're like, you've got to be kidding me. But no, what you're happy with, it's what, I think you have to make yourself happy first. Okay, so now let me bring the iron over and give it, I'm just kind of hovering over it. I don't want to compress it. I just want to help it dry out. So I'm holding it very lightly. Also, I'm not doing it all the way on high because I don't want to melt the lame. Okay, so we'll see how this does. And I can always come back and do a little bit more. And like right here, just do a little bit more. But I think this is going to be good because I wanted to make it a little bit more toned down, but I didn't want to do it too much. Here needs a little bit more. I also have the Inktense blocks, so you can use that to really more like paint than just coloring with a pencil. So I do have that too. All right, so I think that's going to do it. Now, the one other thing when I looked, because see, I went upstairs, I hung this up and looked at it for a week. And I always recommend, that's the beauty of a design wall, is putting these things up, taking a look at what you've done. Now, right there, I was rubbing pretty hard, and this thread popped out, so I'm just going to nip it off. But I just wanted to come along and put some highlights, and that's what I'm doing, is highlighting. Now, on this dock itself, okay, on the dock itself, I felt like it had gotten too dark. So I'm going to come in here and do a little bit of highlighting. The other thing I want to do is have that sunset show up on the dock, because that's what sunsets do, is they'll highlight themselves on the surrounding area, kind of changing that color just a little bit. And I'm definitely going to lighten it up closer to the viewer. So here is going to be lighter than there. So I've got that on. Now I'm going to take some orange, and let's get some of that sunset touching the dock, and even a little bit of the rope, just a little, but harder surfaces reflect the sunset better than like rope, things like that. The rope has too much texture and it kind of divides it. But let's put some of the sunset on this dock. And I might even, well, I don't know. I won't mess with that right now. All right, now let me get the brush. And let's see if we manage to bring a little sunset to the dock. This is why I believe in multimedia, because it can take all, if you're trying to get something to really look realistic by using fabric, you need any tools you can get to help that with that effect. I say do it. Okay, and then let me come in here with some more, other yellow. Okay. But see, when you wet it and then you come back with the pencil, it comes off really, really good. Now I have to be careful here, because if you remember, some of these upholstery fabrics, this was my first time using upholstery fabrics on a quilt. And one of them that I used melted last time, and it was polyester. So I'm just doing on a slightly lower temperature, just enough to dry so you can kind of see. But now, I don't know if you can see good, but it has some of the sunset reflecting. And in that same vein, let's put some of this on the water. It wasn't enough to put it's not strong enough to put the fabric down here, but let's run that right down to the deck. So it's just the sunset is the most important thing for this quilt. All right, so there we go. Now I'm going to hold it up for you again and see what you think. We've brightened up the bird. And so let's see. And then what I'll do now is let this sit and observe it, and then I'll know what else to do. Okay, so let me move this a little out of the way, come back to the main camera, and here we go. All right, now I'm gonna hold this up and understand it is still wet. So let me get this light in here. I think that's much better. It's not as dull here, and here is even better. And then we'll probably be able to tell once this is fully dark, but it does have some sun reflecting off that dock. So, all right. So now let me go back to that close-up camera because the bird looks bright. Oh, good. And oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And see, that is just visit and revisit until you get it just what you want. So visit and revisit. All right. So now what I'm going to do is this. I have decided that I'm going to, I should have put a border on before I quilted. I thought about that recently. I said, oops, I forgot because I already quilted this. But then at the same time, I looked at it and said, well, you know how there are things so-called happy accidents? I said, well, this quilt is not big, and this is the important part of it, okay? So I thought to myself, how about just do a smaller border, and just maybe like this. So now let me cut off my selvages here. And what I like to do is I want to make sure, I don't even remember buying this fabric, but boy do I love it. So when I looked at it, I said, that's exactly what I want. So I'm going to cut this almost 2 inches. Aha, just what I thought. This is the difference. A torn fabric, it tears on the straight of grain. If it's cotton, I know for sure it does. And it tears on the straight of grain. And sometimes, once I've had that light on for a bit, sometimes it makes it darker. Okay, so now I've got the straight of grain. So what I'm going to do, okay, wonder where it stopped. Okay, so now that I've got the straight of grain, I'm going to, I don't want this to be too wide. I kind of look at it just to have a little bit. So I'm going to about 1 3/4 of an inch. And let me get rid of that. All right. And then I'm just going to kind of match this up. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to end up doing is tearing this. Now, I think I'm going to have to cut it here. But what I'll do is I'll iron it real good. It's important to iron once you've torn to get everything back nice and solid. I'll cut enough of these. I will stitch it on the edge here. And I found this, and I love it because it's got that little color in it, which I think kind of will bring out some of the reddish orange. It just has a tiny little bit. So this is going to be the border. Now what I was thinking is I thought, okay, how am I going to do this border since I've already quilted it? Well, I will probably just run it on the machine to quilt it again. But I'm thinking if I put this on the edge and have maybe 3/4 of an inch showing of this, and then I'll come in here and I will do about the same of this, or a little less, probably a little less of this. Whoops, come over this way. A little less of this, but have 3/4. This is supposed to look like the mat board. Then this, I will only have this much of. And I think that's how I'm going to frame this. And so what I would do though is make this wide enough so that it goes all the way around, and it's one piece, it's folded, creased. Then what I'm going to do, since I have that extra coming past the edge here, is I'm going to get the measurement of it, take leftover scraps of batting. So this will get sewn on like this, right sides together, flip it over. Then the black will be put on here too. Then this batting will get put there. So that when this comes over and then this, it has batting in it. It has to be the same thickness as the quilt. So, and then fold it around it. So the batting will be caught in this, and then I'll come along and do some kind of quilting, mainly to stabilize this part of the quilt. So I'm hoping I'm making sense, and hoping this makes sense. So these are the two fabrics I'm going to use, and I will work on that this week and then show you. Well, you know what? Hold on one second. If I get, okay, so if this is 1 inch and 3/4 and another inch. All right, hold on just a second. I can give you a little hint at what I'm going to do. So, and I'm probably cutting a little wider than I need to, but where I tuck it under to stitch it, slip stitch it along the back, I can adjust it that way. All right, now, then let me turn my iron up. Okay, let me fold this up. All right, all I'm going to do with this black one is press it in half. Okay, I'm going to press it in half lengthwise, okay? And I'll show you why. Press it in half lengthwise, because it's much easier before you do anything else to make that nice crease. Okay. Okay. So make this nice crease. All right. Now let me give this a little press. Oh, and I've been thinking about our summer freebie class. You know how every July I like to do a free live class for anybody that sees this and would like to take a class. Okay, so now just give these a nice press. If you wish, always feel free to starch your fabric. It definitely gives it a stiffness that helps. All right, so what I'm going to do is bring you back to the sewing machine. All right. Bring you back over here. I still have to move this sometimes, sorry. Okay, what I'm going to do now is to take this piece and I'm going to stitch right sides together along this edge, okay? Whoops, and I'm out of bobbin. It's all fun and games until the bobbin runs out. You know how that is. Come on. Come on. All right. Here is a partial bobbin I can use. This is going to have white thread. Oh, well. Oh, you know what? Pardon me. Here we go. I forgot I have my... Before I go to a retreat or take a class, I wind a whole bunch of bobbins. Okay. Put this in like this. Pull it through. Every machine has a different method. Okay. Whoops. Come on, thread. All right. All right. So, what I'm going to do is take this edge, and this is a two-piece binding. Really pretty simple. Okay. So I'm going to stitch this, you know, the typical 1/4 of an inch thread. I mean seam allowance. Okay. Like this. When I put this on that, and then I have to quilt it, I'm just going to quilt it with straight lines because I want it to look like a picture frame. All right. So let me get the quilt and show you what I do next. Okay, I've ironed it. And now, let's show you. Then I fold. I'm going to let me put it along this edge. All right. I want it to come up a ways. Okay. So, I'll put this under just like you would. Treat it like it's one piece of border / binding. All right, here we go. But this is where when I make a decision that I'm like, why did I do that? Then I think, well, what is the best way for me to handle this? And I just had to do a little thinking on it. So now you stitch it, and I stitch it on this quilt, being an art quilt, I stitch it just 1/4 of an inch. Now, if it were a regular quilt, sometimes I'll stitch it up to 1/2 an inch. It just depends on the quilt and how much use or abuse that I think that binding may have. But I'm treating this like a binding more than a border. All right. So now, when I open this out, some of the, oh, let me see. Oh, I see what I'm doing. Okay. Some of it I didn't quite get an accurate, no boy, I was moving around a little. Let me try this again. I'm going to go a little bit, I'm going to tell myself 3/8 of an inch to make sure I get the 1/4 of an inch. Because at some places I kind of ran, I didn't have it pinned. Okay. Alright, I think this will be better. I want it nice and straight. Okay. Now, let me go back, take you back over to the table. All right, here we are back over here. And let me show you what I came up with. Okay. So I'm going to give this a nice crisp ironing. Alright. And then I'm going to fold it back under and decide how much of the black do I want to show. And there's that much. I think I might want a little less. So I'm going to, I want it just a touch more than the mat board looking type fabric, but I don't want it too much more than that. So I'm just looking at it to see what looks good. I'm looking in the camera too, because looking through the camera really helps you get a slight step back. Now I'm going to try to press this and see if I like it. And then what I would do, if I like it there, then I'm going to come back here. I'm going to put the batting in like this. Then I'm going to fold this back on that pressing line. Whoops. Okay, so I need a little less batting. That's what I'll have to decide when I know exactly. Here, we'll put that there. The pressing line is right here. And what I will do is then press it. I've put the batting in. It's the narrower width, so it fits just in there. You can always slightly tuck it over the edge of that. Then I'll bring this up on the pressing line like this, because I'm looking to line it just over that stitching line like this. Okay, and then give this a very good pressing. So without having to sew or cut two different pieces, just fold it over, and as long as you've got the batting in there, and then once you quilt along here. All right, now I'm going to flip it back over for you to see. Okay, so here is what I've got now, and it's got the batting in it, so it's going to be stiff. It's going to be the same thickness. I would go in and do just maybe stitch in the ditch here, and maybe do some straight lines. If you wanted to do curved lines, fine, but I don't want to put this back on my long arm. I'm going to do this on my domestic. So now what I'm going to do is hold this up and let you see it with it upright and see what you think. And you notice I haven't cut anything because I'm not sure. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm not sure if that's really where I want it or not, so I'm not going to cut until I've had a chance to look at it. But here is... Now, the reason when I do my art quilts, I try to treat them as if they are a piece of art, which they are to me, is I like having this little mat board looking, because it's kind of, it gives your eye a place to say that's the edge, and it's like a neutral territory between, hi Marcia, it's a neutral territory between all this busyness and your nice sharp edge, your binding. So what do you think? Do you think that will work? And it's not done until it's finished, and this definitely needs a label, because art quilts might not be quite understood, and hopefully it'll be around a while. But this is what I'm thinking of doing. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward, and I think it will work. I'll let you see that a little closer. Whoops, come on, Deb. There it is. But I will pin this on the wall, stare at it for a few days, and then move on with it. All right, so I'm going to take up the rest of this fabric upstairs so that I can finish this. And there we go. All righty. Now, the other thing that we're going to be looking at, our new project that we're starting, is going to be manipulated fabric that's embellished, okay? And hi, sweetie. And then I pulled out, the easiest one to do is the Sea Scape that I had on the placeholder. Oh, I don't want to lose that. But let me tell you what, I'm not going to start this today, but let me tell you what I'm thinking, because I'm formulating the plan. So let me go back to the detail camera. All right, I have my fusible interfacing. I have some beach fabric. Here's some sand. This is some great sand fabric. Here's some great water fabric, and I have a feeling some of these are from Miss Lisa. Last year, she was way too kind to me and got me some fabrics. Okay, so this is what I pulled out, looking into what are we thinking of doing. All right, I'm going to quickly, let me pull up something really quickly. 25. Okay. So, I was thinking of this fellow. Let me bring this up. Okay. I was thinking of this because this one caught my eye right away. Now, this is an AI picture, so it's not real. Understand, it's not real. But it could be done. And you can make a pillow out of it, or you can make a small artwork. So this is what I've gotten. Now I'm going to do my own version. And I've got some shells. I wish I had some of those cute little starfish. I don't. But, okay, so look at that. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be manipulating. Look how they folded and bunched the fabric. And look how then they've used, I don't know if it's just color, stitching, or whatever. Then they've done some more, because we're kind of going to incorporate some of our hand embroidery we've been looking into. Then I'm going to try to find some fabric with some turtles on it, or make my own. And you know, that's something you could do. You could find cute pictures of turtles and print them on fabric, or you can paint your own, draw your own. But then look at the sand. Look how they folded and manipulated that. So, coming back to me now. Okay. I've got some faraway water if I needed it. I've got some up close water if I needed it. Now, you can paint your own fabric too, using thinned out acrylics. I've even got some nice sky fabric, but I don't think I'm going to go up that far. I think I'll make it closer up like this one. This gorgeous fabric for the close-up beach. So let me tell you what I'm thinking of doing. This could be beach or sky. Look at this cool. Isn't that awesome? Whoop, let me bring my light over this way. But that is really cool. That would be beautiful. And then I have 3 fabrics that I could use for the beach. What I'm thinking of doing is planning out a drawing. I like how the water comes from just a side on this one. And planning out and having, I want different fabrics for the beach. That you know they get darker the closer they get to the water when they're wet. The water gets lighter as it comes onto the beach because it's thinner. So I will organize my fabrics into light, medium, and darker if I want to go that much, like this. Whoops. Like this. So I'll organize those and maybe even finish up right at the edge with this, which that could look like froth instead of clouds in a sky. And then I'd have this fabric right at the edge of the beach, followed by this one, followed by that one. So what I'm going to do is take a sheet of paper, I'm going to draw it, and a little bit exaggerate it to how it's supposed to look. Okay, so it might be on some angles if the water is coming in at an angle. And then I'm going to, once I piece it, I'll probably do strips and sew strips together. Once I piece it, I'm going to put fusible interfacing on the back of it. And the reason I'm going to put fusible interfacing is it is going to give me, it's going to give me more thickness, and it's going to be easier to fold and manipulate and see it. Because I want to see the folds and the manipulation. I don't want it to just kind of press down flat. Because some of those folds, it looks like the waves, it looks like the sand, the rolling, you know, where the waves have created the waves in the sand. So I'll put this, once I piece all those together and have a piece, then I'm going to put fusible interfacing on the back. I'll iron it onto the back. Now, when I was looking for things to do for this, I went over, pulled out some of my, every time I have this light on for a while, it darkens the camera, but then when I put it back on, you can see better. But this is good old cheesecloth. And it is wonderful for waves, trust me. And you can have it thicker and thinner. You know how sometimes the waves just have like a mesh across the sand? Then I found this lace. And I can actually cut, it looks like little waves. So that's pretty cool. And then just a good old-fashioned cheap lace that you can crunch up really gives a look of the froth at the edge. So this is what I've got. This is what I'm going to start with. I'm going to also try to figure out how I'm going to put the sea turtles on. And I might just do a crab too. But then I'm going to get floss to match the sand and the water. So I can do some French knots. I can just do some little stitches to make it look like little scratches in the sand. I might even try to find some beads, because you could put beads in the froth of the water. You could put tan beads in the sand to make it look like something in the sand. I will pull out my shells and get ready to put those on it. So I think it's going to be fun. I will gather up all of these things, but I saw this in an ad for what I believe is a fictitious pillow. And I thought, oh, that is going to be our next project. So, all right, let me come back to the main, but hopefully that might give you some ideas. And you could, if you're tired of, we're doing a seascape, if you're tired of that, that's okay. That's okay. You can think of what kind of landscape that you can do, that you can manipulate the fabric. Somewhere upstairs, I have this stuff that you iron onto fabric and it scrunches it up. I may look into that, but I kind of like just the folding. And what you would do is, once you have the interfacing on the back, you're just going to scrunch it and you're going to stitch it in place. So you're going to want matching threads so it really doesn't stand out. So get some blues for your water, whites for the foam, and tans for the sand. And let's see what we can do. If I can find turtles to cut out, I'm going to put stuffing under them and applique them on, so that would be fun. You might want to embroider them on. So be thinking of what you can do to add your own touch. Technically, does the border go on before the quilting? Yes. Good question, Polly. Normally with any quilt, you put the border on and run the batting all the way out to the edge of the border, put the border on, and then you have it quilted. Then you put the binding on over that edge that's left. But with this one, it's a little different and a little tricky the way I wanted to do it. I still could have done it. I could have done it the way I'm doing now, but not had the part that folds over. And that would be binding. But I'm kind of curious to see how this works. So, but good question, hon. Good question. All right, so let's go to show and tell. And actually, before we go there, I was trying so hard to get, what did I do? Oh, here's my phone. I was trying so hard to get the thing started that I didn't get these pictures downloaded from my phone. So I'm going to show them to you on my phone. Oh, I don't want you to see how dirty that screen is, but let me turn my phone back on. Yay. Okay, now, whoops, go to here, go to here, go to here. Come on. All right, so I want to show you just a few pictures. Come on. Oh, it's not turning. Okay. This is a picture of what I've got on the back deck. The tarp is on a covering a wheelbarrow with 2 big bags of garden soil, and those are my plants that are sitting around the edge of that bench waiting to be planted. So I know what I'm going to be doing this week. Okay, here's a little pink. It's called dianthus or pinks. I love planting these now because a lot of times you can get them to bloom again at least another year. So I think they're not really a perennial, but they're a hardy annual. So okay, come on, Deb. Let me see. I would have loved, whoops, stop. Why is the phone acting up right now? Okay, hold on, let me get out and come back in. Okay, I think we'll go to show and tell, and then I'll show you the rest in a moment. All right. Okay, so now, here we go. Let's go to show and tell. All right, Miss Betty Meisner sent this wonderful, this is her tribute to Donna, and I'm so sad that we lost her. Now I've forgotten her last name. Yes, Dianthus poly do come back, and they can be lovely, lovely. Oh, thanks, Mayor. Hi, Mayor. All right, now let's go to, let's see who's next. Bonnie. Let's see her wonderful, she completed this already. This is her lovely little hummingbird and trumpet flowers. And I think it is delightful. Donna Jordan, thank you, Miss Jo. I tell you what, I always watched people on the news and they would misstate or forget a word. And I thought, how do they do that? Well, guess what? I do it too. There's something about being on camera that makes you a little stumbly. And Miss Charlene, her lovely star block that she's working on right now. Don't you just love stars? They always make you happy. I love her choice of fabrics. Reminds me of 30s fabrics. Just lovely. Okay, let's see. What's this about? Oh, I showed you last week that we had Easter dinner with the family. That was fun. And then my grandsons in the shopping cart for Easter. They must have been picking up something for the big family meal. They're so cute. Oh, I love them dearly. Okay, back to show and tell. Miss Debbie, oh my goodness, I love this folded. Look at this folded quilt. I forgot now what it means. Folded star. Folded star. And I love it. You know what I love is she's using a template which will help keep everything right on track. And then these are the quilts she saw at the Virginia Quilt Museum. Barbara Hollinger, who was Jenny Byer's right-hand lady for years. Look at this. I love it. She really patterned after, or Jenny patterned after her, use of color and light. Isn't that beautiful? Gosh, it's so pretty. I'm not sure what that one is, but what a cool room divider, huh? That's really neat. All right, I think that was it. Thank you so much, Debbie, for taking those and showing us those. That is so nice. And then Miss Mary got another block done this week. That woman is on the ball. And look at this. Isn't that amazing? She said this was a difficult one to do. But guess what? She even fussy cut. Look how she fussy cut the flowers in the pink corners. Way to go, Mary. My gosh. I've got to give you a round of applause, girlfriend. And then, oh, look at her wonderful Dorset buttons. Love those. And then this is the block she had finished before. Way to go, Miss Mary. Oh, and you know what? I forgot. She did a narrow line. Look at this. I tell you what, that is pretty cool. She tickles me to no end. And she puts her own stamps on everything. I never have to say, oh, make it your own. No, she already is there. And I love it. I just love it. Good job. And I love the embroidery she put on there. Oh, I think it's embroidery. And how cool is that? Okay, now my cursor is, okay. My cursor's playing games with me again, playing hide and seek. Okay, now we're going to go look at, let's see, Miss Jo. Let's look at Miss Jo, and I love this. Hold on, let me overthink this. I said, how did she know? That's how my mind works. Isn't that the cutest thing? And what a great way to get practice for hand embroidery and at the same time make something for you to love. Okay, so now I'll come back to the main camera and let's see if now I can... Please do this differently. Please do this differently. I might not be able to show you. I had something so pretty. It looks like my camera is hung up. So, all right. So now we've done show and tell. I'm just going to show you that I really do mean what I said. I'm going to finish my 2 children's wedding quilts. Out of the 3 wedding quilts, I've only finished 1. And then she got divorced, so that doesn't count. But what I'm going to show you, and as I work on it, I'm going to show you bits of it. I love the John Flynn method of doing a double wedding ring quilt. It takes what is a very complex pattern and turns it into something easy to follow. So let me bring you back down to the close-up camera and I'll show you. All right, now my daughter, this daughter Katie, has probably been married 16 years, maybe. And this is, this is what happened when Deb was too busy and too distractible. So it got started, and it's a nice start. But you know what? A quilt's only a quilt when it's finished. So here are the partial blocks that I've already done. Here are all the strips ready to go. What John Flynn does, what makes it different is, okay, here is a strip. This is a strip that has been finished. Whoops, let me bring you in closer. Let me bring the light over. Here's a strip that's finished, okay? And then here's a segment that's finished. And this is the segment that goes in the middle. When the strips first start out, though, all of these strips have been done, but do you notice something? They're all straight, okay? Straight. This is definitely a project. If I were to do it again, everything... Oh, Miss Mary, I love you so much. But these are strips that have been done straight. And I would have taken heavy starch to all this fabric before I cut it. What John Flynn does to make it so easy, and you can find his books out there, used booksellers. What he does is he comes in and sews at an angle. It's sharper here, depending on what size block you're making. He tells you. So when you come like this, with your straight strip set, I think with this one, I come in 1/4 of an inch and stitch to even here. When you do that, look what happens. When you do that, it starts the curving action. So these have had a straight stitch, and the curved ones have come back and been re-sewn at an angle. So to me, that's the easiest thing. Also, you make strip sets. You don't cut individual pieces. If I cut individual pieces, it would be too much. These individual pieces are for the cornerstones of the block. So let me see. When you put all of these blocks together, did I not even get that far on these? I don't think I have any of these sewn actually together. But here are all the pieces for my daughter's quilt, and I'm going to get this finished. Their anniversary is coming up near the end of May, and so we'll see how far I can get in the meantime. But the bulk of the work is done, so I'll be working on that. All right, Raven, hello. Nice seeing you. Welcome, first timer. All right, everybody. I think that I am done for today, and Mark's not home yet, so I'm going to go let the doggies out to go potty. But thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here, for putting up with me getting used to this whole new program. But thank you very, very much. Y'all are very special to me, and you inspire me and keep me active and producing, and that is a gift. But your friendship means so much, so very much. So take good care of yourself, and I will see you next Sunday with some projects actually done. So this one felt weird because I really didn't have anything done, and I really pushed for that. But, oh, thank you. I was a brave girl, wasn't I? Take great care of yourself. Do something special just for you. And I wish you a very good week. Okay, everyone? Thank you. I love you all. You are the best. And I'll see you next week with some fun new projects. Okay? All right. Take care. Come on, cursor. I'm still chasing around my cursor. Take care.